thanks for coming. Today our meeting is to talk about the 8th grade to 9th grade transition and the action research project. And today I'm going to discuss with you guys the results of the project that we did with our 8th grade students. So if you remember back in the fall we talked about that we were going to have our students do student involved data use where they track their own data, and then we were going to be conferencing with them, and the means of the conference was going to be based on the spreadsheet that we did with them where they were tracking their grades, credits, and GPA. So these were the key questions that I was looking for with my research. The first one was if 8th graders track their grades, GPA and credits, and then conference with an administrator during quarters 1 through 3, will the number of course failures decrease? If 8th grade students track their grades, GPA, and credits via conferencing with an administrator in quarters 1 through 3, will their GPA improve? And then last, if they track their grades, credits, and GPA via conferencing with an administrator in quarters 1 through 3, will the students increase their total number of credits achieved by the end of quarter? So for my lit review, I was looking at research that mainly dealt with these topic areas: 8th to 9th grade transition, student involved data use, student self-assessment, because the spreadsheet that we used is really a form of a self-assessment, conferencing, and then some contrary research. And the method that we did this, and you guys are all familiar with this because we did it for 3 quarters, but just to review, we had a 8th grade teacher meeting, an administrator meeting to go over our plan. I went in as a researcher and did a classroom lesson with the students about GPA, credits, grades, and graduation, and then how they were going to utilize the spreadsheet. We did a parent meeting during parent conferences with 8th grade parents to go through the study. We reviewed the sample tracking sheet that they were using. Then we conferenced individually with the students after every quarter, and it ended up being about 154 students that we met with individually each quarter, and then basically the data collection. So now to get to the results. So the first slide that you see here was the GPA. So again, this was based on 154 students. So if you look at the graph, it shows that we had 21% of our 8th graders that increased their GPA every quarter. So we used quarter 1 as our baseline GPA. So we were looking to see if they raised it from quarter 1 to quarter 2 and quarter 2 to quarter 3. Then we had 54% of our students that raised their GPA at least 1 quarter. So they either increased it from quarter 1 to quarter 2 or from quarter 2 to quarter 3. So total, that's about 75% of our students increased their GPA. Then we had our 19% of our students that didn't make any gains at all with their GPA, and then we had about 6% that stayed the same or decreased. So again, like I just said, we had 75% of our students increase their GPA at least 1 quarter or more. Now, failures for quarter 1, for our baseline, we had 18% of our students that had at least 1 F or more. For second quarter, we increased to 21%, and then from third quarter, we decreased, we went down to 19%. But it still wasn't below the 18% that we started. And in regards with more failures, details about more failures, so I was curious to see how many students just had 1 F, how many students had multiple Fs. So our students with 1 F, we actually decreased. We started with a baseline of 12%, then second quarter 9%, and then third quarter 6%. But with our multiple failures, we increased. So first quarter we had 6% of our students with multiple Fs. Then we jumped to 12%, and then we went up to 13%, which wasn't a huge increase, thankfully. So then I kind of wanted to look and see which of these F students, how many of them maybe got off the F list from quarter 1 to quarter 2, or how many increased. So 13% of the F students from quarter 1 to quarter 2 increased their amount of Fs. So they then became a multi-F student for quarter 2. Then we had 5% of those F students that improved and didn't get an F in quarter 2. Then from quarter 2 to quarter 3, we had 8% that increased their amount of Fs, and then we had 7% that decreased their amount of Fs. And then just for the results data, I just wanted to look at our special populations, because I was just curious to see where these F students kind of fall in what range. So I looked at our special ed population, and first quarter we had 12% of our students with Fs were special ed students. And second quarter it was 14, and third quarter it was 12.
Just out of curiosity, what is the percentage of special eds in the school?
This was just 8th graders, and there's about 20 special ed 8th grade students, so it was about 50%.
No, 20 is not 50%. You see what I'm saying? I'm wondering
how many student 8th graders do we have?
we have 150.
Oh, how many total 8th graders do we
So
have?
what's the sped population, percentage of that population?
We have around
12% is.
Yeah.
What that compares to, like if.
The percent of the 8th grade students
Come on,
that are
math
special
teacher.
ed.
What is that, about?
I'm confused on the
Six?
question that you
Yeah.
asked.
20% of 150.
20 out of 150 is what percentage of 150?
20 students.
10% is 15,
That's 15.
and then a third more of that, so that's 18%.
Okay, so more or less 18% of the kids are special ed and only 12% of them had Fs.
Yeah. If you, I can show you on a
12%,
different
no,
slide.
12% of the
special ed.
18%.
For this study, okay, there was around about 9 students special ed that received
Okay.
Fs, and we have about 20 total special ed 8th graders.
So I mean, it's a real, just ignoring.
Fine, they're good questions. So for our ELL population, this was interesting to me because we only had 1% of our ELL 8th graders that had an F. And that stayed consistent all 3 quarters. So, yes, that was interesting to see. So the interventions and things that Ms. McGuire does with them must be very beneficial. And I believe if we looked at that particular student has a high amount of absences, so that might be why. Okay, so alright, so our total percent of students who increased their credits by quarter 3. So these were 80% of our students in this study increased all their credits. So 81% had all credits by the end of quarter 3.
Madison, Digner, if you're in the building, could you call the office or come to the office, please?
What do you measure as an increase in credits?
An increase in credits just be if they went up from what they had. So they can get a total of 6 credits per quarter. So if they were like at 5 and they increased that to 6, or if they had 4 and they increased to 5, so that's why we did it. So these were our results.
Cindy, Yusuf, your ride is here.
So basically the first question, if they track their grades, GPA, and credits with conferences, will the number of course failures decrease? This was yes and no, because from quarter 1 to quarter 2 we increased. So we had 27 students moved up to 32 students, so we increased by 5. But then from quarter 2 to quarter 3, we decreased by 2 students. So we went from 32 students to 30 students that had 1F or more. For the second question, if 8th grade students track their grades, GPA, and credits via conferencing, will the GPA improve? This, I felt like, had really good results because 75% of our students improved their GPA at least 1 quarter or more, and 21% improved their GPA every quarter. Then lastly, about the credits, if 8th grade students track their grades, GPA, and credits, will it increase the total amount of credits achieved by quarter 3? Yes, 81% of the students increased, so that was positive as well. Trends that we found, again, the majority of the students increased their GPA. Students who received 1F each quarter actually decreased, but students who received more than 1F increased. We also had our total failures went from quarter 1, 18%, quarter 2, 21%, quarter 3, 19%, which was less than our projected percentage. Basically, I came up with 35% because those were the amount of 8th graders that we had failing at progress report time at the beginning of this year. So 35% of our 8th graders had 1F or more on their progress report. That's where I got that number from. So it decreased. And then I surveyed our students and asked them 3 questions if they felt the study was helpful. 99% thought that they were helpful, and then these were some other comments that they had shared. I liked knowing if I improved in my classes. It kept me on task with what my goals are. It was helpful because I can now do it myself. I like how it kept me on track. These goals actually helped me work towards high honors. This project helped me understand where and what I needed help on. I like that there's a part where you can write a goal for the end of the semester. It helped me work harder to try to reach that goal. I learned to stay on top of my grades more. I like that I got feedback. I like that I learned how to do this before high school. I like that I could see how I improved each quarter. I like this project because it shows me I need to pay more attention to my grades. I like how the steps were explained and how you can see what credits you earned. I like that it gave me a chance to look at my grades and get recommendations on what I can do better. So I thought that those were really positive questions, or positive answers that they gave about the project. And then basically my evaluation was the results in the student survey, and then meeting with you guys to go over those results. Now I have some questions for you. Was my data clear and easy to understand? Yes? I know Ms. Stahovsky, you had some questions about it. That's good.
Well, no, I was just thinking a little further beyond what you presented. What you presented was very clear.
Okay. Based on research results, what recommendations do you have to improve or enhance this study? Yes.
So, obviously our population fluctuated a lot this year. Did you consider taking out those students like who had 1F and then moved? And then like the students we gained who then didn't have Fs? You know, how are you tracking those types of students?
So with our high mobility of students, the only students that were included in this study were the students that have been with us in quarters 1, 2, and 3. Anyone who was withdrawn was not included. Anyone who's moved in was not included because I didn't feel they weren't there for the whole study, so that would skew the results. Does that answer your question? What did you learn from the study?
I'm clearly bringing attention to the details of how their grades are formulated and how their work towards that impacts it is a big deal. Because they all said basically the same thing. I understand better where my grades are coming from and what I can do to change
do this before high school. Students taking more responsibility for their grades because now they understand what the impact and ramifications will be if they are in that F class. So, I think that's
I know
very
for
telling.
me, when I looked at the data and I heard the comment about the high honors, I was curious to see if that 21%, how many of those kids were honor roll kids that improved their GPA every quarter. So I might kind of look at that to see if the majority of those kids were honor students. Do you guys have any further questions regarding the study?
I had a comment, it'd be interesting to see how it compares to, and it's extensive, but last year and the year before. Like to just compare the data, but go back and gather that information without having the project in place and just to see what happened. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome.
The other thought that I had was going to Northside next year after first semester and seeing how many of our students actually failed a class to see if it made an impact that way compared to the freshmen that they have this year. So I would like to do that.
The only thing, and it goes along with what Lisa was saying, if you would have tracked half of the 8th graders and had a control group where you didn't do anything with, and then compared them, then you could have had at least a basis of comparison.
Sure.
So you might consider that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The reason why I didn't do that is because I felt bad. I felt like I should conference with all
Yeah,
of
you're not offering help to all the.
Give them all the opportunities.
Sorry,
That's
you're
probably
on
your
your own.
counselor piece, but yeah, I think that would make for a better study.
Yeah.
You're right.
What about at a different, no, can't do
But if you could go back a year though, that would give you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Without leaving anyone out.
Right. Would there be anything that you would do differently other than that suggestion? Anything else?
Include 7th grade next year.
Yeah.
I talked about that for next steps, and basically my question was for that, since a lot of this was focused on high school, would there be that buy-in from the 7th graders? Since it's not as in their face around the corner, but yeah, I think it's a good thing to do with them regardless.
It might help some of them, and then like you were saying with the GPA, with somebody going, I worked harder for high honors. I think some of our kids still don't know, and I don't blame them because I'm not sure I'm real clear on it. You know, it used to be a B and they made honor roll, and it's not that way anymore. So what are those, tiers to get the honorable mention, to get the honors, to get the high honors? Because that would, especially the ones that are self-motivated, that might be just what they need to go, oh, if I raise this one more, I could make that next step. And looking at the 7th grade honor roll list this year, they need all the, all the motivation they can
They
get.
don't know. They think 1C that you can't be on honor roll, and then they're all upset. Oh, so-and-so got a C, they're on honor roll. No, I think it's GPA, but, some
Yeah, I
of them
think
do,
that's
some
good.
of them don't.
And then I think for another next steps, just based on this data, is trying to maybe come up with some strategies on how we help those multiple F students from continuing to be multiple
Does
F
it seem like a
students.
multiple S student has from the data, one might assume that the multiple S students have already given up. Because
Some
they're
of
the
them,
ones
yes.
that just got worse,
Right.
even with help. So it seems like, what can we do to keep them from getting, maybe it's just too overwhelming at that point. I've got 3 Fs, 4 Fs,
Yeah, or maybe the intervention needs to be more frequent. Maybe instead of conferencing once a quarter, it needs to be every week and a grade check every week. So those are just some thoughts as far as the next steps.
And I will say this is beneficial because I had a couple students in my room before we got grades for quarter 3 who went up to my GPA chart and they were like using calculators to actually convert everything to see what they had. And there were students that I never would have thought would have taken the time to do that in the past. So they were calculating to see what GPA they were going to have before the report card even came out. So I thought that was really neat to watch them do that. And I asked them, I said, do you think this will be beneficial for you for high school so you can
you think possibly bringing the high school to do this alongside of you, maybe between quarter 2 and quarter 3, when we have the biggest drop, might help for the high school counselors to be like, well, here's your schedule, math lab, intervention, language lab, language intervention, you know?
Yeah.
Because even though we preach it to them, I think there's like, oh, that's fake.
I think,
You know,
I think
like
that's a good idea.
to have somebody from the high
You'll
school.
have no life at the high school if you don't get it together.
Yeah.
I think anytime you can do that, where you're communicating with the high school and the high school is interacting with them for that 8th to 9th grade transition is very positive.
Yeah.
It's just being able to get the kinks worked out, but I think that's a great suggestion. And I know that when I talked to Northside's principal, I told him I was gonna provide him all of our data, so then he could see who those multiple F kids are, so he can kind of like, you know, have a conversation, check in on them, because if they're multi-failing here, there's a good chance they're gonna struggle there, so that's the thank you, guys had great questions and feedback, so I appreciate you listening to my study
Are you gonna be presenting this?
yeah, I'll be presenting this on Saturday to my class.
There's just a few.
Yes, I saw. Thank you, I will fix
Read
those.
it from bottom corner to top corner, right to left, and you'll catch them.
Thank you. All right.